got this pulley here, and this is actually what this is an adjustable V-belt pulley. So the other end threads on here, and you can adjust the width of the belt you're using. And we need to bore this out. Animals. We need to bore this out 3/4 of an inch. So we got to get it in the lathe good and straight. The trouble is that you know, we don't really have anything good to indicate off of, except for the thing that we're holding, and of course we're holding on to that, so we can't really indicate off of it. So the only thing we have to indicate off of is this bore. Well, unless you have an indicator attachment to go in here, that's going to be kind of difficult. And the other thing is you've got this keyway that's going to be getting in the way, which when you're spinning it around indicating, kind of is not so nice. So I'm going to show a different method where you can indicate, you know, you could even indicate a splined hole in if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. Or you can indicate off of a cord hole in a casting or something like that and get a good averaging where your indicator needle and something like that would be jumping all over the place and driving you nuts. So let's get started. We have our 4-jaw chuck. We're just going to go ahead. We've got these flats on here, so we want a couple jaws on the flats. Now, we'll go ahead here and just kind of eyeball it first. Alright. So get everything kind of snug. Barely any pressure. You see, we're pretty far out right now, but we're going to take care of that. So I've got this little flex arm on a T-slot in the lathe, and it just kind of stays here. It's not the best in the world, but it's pretty handy. There's not a lot of great places on this lathe to stick a bang base all the time. So, alright, so now we have our tailstock, and in the tailstock we've got our live center. We're going to use a dead center here. Now, you can make a bar to do this, but I find it easiest just to grab it at a dead center because they already have the center drill hole in the back and everything is nice and true and concentric. So, and you'll see why that's important here in a second. So we put our point in our bore here and then run our tailstock up. And I'm just tightening this really lightly, you know, a little bit of finger pressure, and I just want this a little bit snug. So, make sure you can see all that. Yeah. Anyhow. So now, we've got something we can actually indicate off of. So, bring in our indicator here. And these work better. These got a cable inside them. Sometimes they work better than kind of twist them around. The lock on this thing is junk. And I might swap this out and put a crossbar holder on here. Let's see if we can get that cropped on there. That's good enough. Alright, so I think you can see that indicator in the video. I want to try and get up as close here to the edge as we can, just for accuracy's sake. Let's see, so we're pretty high here. Just tighten that in. Here. Wrong way. Ratchets are kind of nice to use for chuck keys, but they do kind of suck sometimes. Get them mixed up. I keep one usually going one direction and one the other direction. And they're really not quite the right size for the squares on this lathe. Alright, 30 thousandths out right here, so we go in 15 or so. It's probably a little far. 15 out. And I'm usually a little quicker with this. 10 out. We'll just get there by tightening it now. There. Fourth out now. Sorry the video cut out. Ran out of memory there. But I heard it go off, so you didn't miss anything. Anyhow, let's see. We're down to about 2 thousandths now. So let's see where foul high here. One more. Let's tweak it over a bit. And we're within 1 thousandth, so you could get this as close as you wanted to. And just to double check, feel that this is still snug in here and it's not flopping around. And now we're pretty well centered on that bore, so this is a really nice trick. That's bugging me a little bit. 2 thousandths is good enough. You know, the thing with this is, this pulley is not really straight in any other plane, you know, so looking through the back, I could see that the machine part is pretty straight. This was used, God knows where it's been. The guy wanted it poured out so we can fit it something. That's okay. It should probably still run just fine. Alright. Now we'll get ourselves a boring bar out. I kind of like types of board door holders. We'll go ahead and use our lantern. Now, I'm going to shoot the video on tool posts here. It may be included in this video. But one of the things is there's nothing wrong with these lantern tool posts if you use them properly. And if you're using holders like this, or like an Armstrong holder, these aren't meant to be used with the rocker. Take that rocker out and flip your washer over and use it that way. What the rocker is actually meant for is something like this. That's a one piece, it's forged, carbon steel, real old school stuff. That's what they used to use back in the old days. Before we had, you know, the patent tool holders come out. And this particular one would be called a side tool in the nomenclature of the time. And what it is a facing tool. So, anyway, alright, so put all that aside. I think we're going to use this holder because I got this nice little carbide bar in there. I'm going to have to stick this out a little more. Set it off to the side. Flip our washer over. There's that wrench. And should have a wrench for this. That one will work. Stick this up. Let's get our tailstock out of the way. Stick this out as far as we need to. Yeah, about right there. And give it a little bit extra. So we got some clearance. That tightens down. Now let's see how we're doing with getting close to center. I like to use a tailstock center to bring the tool up to height. It's a good way to go. Let's see, but we're kind of low. So find a shim to stick under there. This ought to get us pretty darn close. Yeah, that's going to be right on center right there. So, and I do have to admit that is somewhat pre-planned. I usually keep some shims nearby for my more frequently used tools. So now we'll come up here and get our bar square. Force it. Yeah, that's good enough. Doesn't have to be dead nuts because I think we're going to ream this for our final size here. So let's get our tailstock out of the way. Let's see, hang our wrench back on the wall. Come in here. Just going to see where we are. Too fast on this. Because I don't know, we're kind of pushing it with this bore and bar. This might be a little bit small of a bore for it to go in. Sometimes you can get away with it. And it doesn't have to be super pretty, because like I said, we're going to ream it. Pretty sure I got a spiral fluted 3/4 inch reamer laying around here somewhere, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's fire up the lathe. First, I think I'm going to grab some glasses. By the way, I've become a big fan of these dollar store reading glasses. I keep them all around, keep a couple pairs in the toolbox. Go to the dollar store, find some that you like, and buy 4 or 5 pairs of them. Real nice. Only cost you $1. Make sure it feeds in the right direction. If it is. Here was machined, and that's running true. This edge is wobbling out quite a bit. Maybe somebody dropped this pulley at some point, I don't know. I would like to straighten it, but I'm afraid to try and straighten that because it is cast and it very well might break on us. Is this a boring enough video for you? Probably run this quite a bit faster. Might push the old girl. Cast iron heating pretty nice. You know, oftentimes while you're on a cut like this, go around with your oil can. Always keep your oil cans handy. about 6:38, so we got a little ways to go. Let's take another 20 thou. And that's 40 thou out of the diameter. This is the way these dials read. 40 thou. Test cuts here, because I did bump that handle a couple times while I was looking around, so. $6.86. Alright. That'll be okay for this pass. Remember, when you're boring something like this, make sure you're taking the damn set screw out. So that ain't fun to run into one of them hard set screws when you're doing it. Just cast iron, we don't need any kind of cutting fluid with it, cutting oil. like 730, and that'll leave us about 20 thousandths to ream out. So we're going to take another 23 thousandths. 10, 20, half. Right on the money. You know what, we may actually just go ahead, if I can't find the right reamer, we might just go ahead and just straight bore this out to finish size, because I'm getting a pretty good finish on here. Just taking light cuts, so I'm not having a lot of flex. Some really nicely machining cast iron. Starting to sing a little bit. Sometimes if you take a C-clamp or something and put it on the back end of your bar, it'll quiet that out. Alright. Now I gotta pause the video and go search for a reamer. Okay. So I went ahead and I put a mark on my dial here with my Sharpie. And as an aside, you know, I'm using these all the time and wearing them out and drying them out. And what I ended up doing is I put this end in a vise and I pull these apart now. And I get a, what do you call it, pipette, you know, the droppers. And I've been adding some dicum to it. It actually makes them work way better. So this is really it's a dicum pen at this point. So I've gone and found I do have a chucking reamer here that's 3/4 inch and spiral flute. So we're gonna go ahead and use that. And I just marked that in case I want to come back to it for some reason. This doesn't work out. I don't know. It's sort of a force of habit. Go ahead and crank this out of the way. Because we're done with it for now. And bring our tailstock up. Set our center aside. And now we have our reamer. And again, since we're just doing cast iron, we're going to go ahead and do this dry. And just wind this all the way out of the way. Make sure we aren't going to run into anything. We've got enough travel. We're just gonna leave the tailstock loose, and that'll allow it to float just a little bit if it's got to, and push our reamer on through. Go a little bit slower. Our reaming. Walk ourselves to the next step. There we go. That's good right there. And I think you're going to be able to see this from this angle. That reamer maybe a little too close to a magnet for some time. I don't have any air in the shop. That'd be kind of nice to be able to blow this out. Wipe it out with my finger here. That's pretty good. Alright, check our pit. That's what it's going on. It's a treadmill motor, and I machined this down to 3/4 inch. It's actually about 1,000th under. Perfect. We're done. So here's our pulley installed, and really, I kind of advised against this, but, you know, anyhow, this, you know, is hanging out quite a bit off that little stub shaft. Really, there should be a different pulley on here, but it's not going to be seeing a whole lot of horsepower, so. See, we do have some wobble in the thing, and, you know, I was looking at it and well, the bore is pretty straight, but the casting is off enough. I could have used a little bit of some other trickery to get this to run right, but for what it's doing, it's going to be perfectly adequate. So we're not going to worry about it. So that's this project. Little project complete. Here's another part that I had to bore out and used basically the same method. Although in that case I didn't have a center that was quite big enough. A number 4 would have worked, but I don't have any number 4s hanging around. So that's the tool I made to go ahead and center on that bore. And that worked out pretty well. These are parts for a guy who's he's making pool cues. So if you look at a pool cue and it's got those little cuts in it where the wood splices together, this is part of a jig for making that. So I hope you enjoyed this little video and maybe learned a little something. You know, if you like these videos, please do like them. If you got any questions or comments, you know where to put them. And if you want to see more, please do subscribe. I'm trying to get a little more machining content on the channel. And in the next video, we're gonna do a talk on tool posts. So stay tuned for that. Should be coming up, well, possibly as early as later tonight. That'll be uploaded. So anyhow, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.